Hello everyone, and welcome to our Scrum Events Practitioner course. Scrum is not simply a collection of meetings. Every event exists to help the team inspect progress, adapt quickly, and continuously deliver value. Throughout this video, we'll explore each Scrum event, understand its purpose, the responsibilities of each role, and practical techniques to make every meeting truly effective. We'll begin with sprint planning, the first event of every sprint. This section covers 3 areas. First, we'll understand what sprint planning is, its goals, and expected outcomes. Next, we'll look at the responsibilities of the product owner, Scrum Master, and development team. Finally, we'll learn practical agendas, planning techniques, and best practices that make sprint planning productive and realistic. Sprint planning officially starts a new sprint. During this event, the Scrum team works together to answer 2 important questions. First, what product backlog items should be delivered in this sprint? Second, how will the team accomplish that work? The result is a shared understanding of the sprint goal and an initial execution plan for the upcoming sprint. Sprint planning has several important objectives. The team agrees on the sprint scope, breaks requirements into manageable tasks, validates available capacity, commits only to work that can realistically be completed, and prepares the Scrum or Kanban board. The goal is not simply to assign work, but to build a realistic plan that the entire team confidently commits to. At the end of sprint planning, everyone should understand exactly what will be delivered. Stakeholders are informed about the sprint scope, the team's capacity has been considered, dependencies have been identified, and the sprint commitment has been agreed. Finally, the Scrum or Kanban board is ready, so the team can begin working immediately with full transparency. The product owner is responsible for bringing clarity and business direction into sprint planning. They introduce the sprint goal, explain the highest priority product backlog items, confirm that each item satisfies the definition of ready, clarify acceptance criteria, adjust priorities if capacity changes, commit to the sprint backlog, and communicate the agreed scope to stakeholders after planning is complete. The Scrum Master prepares everything needed for effective planning. This includes organizing the meeting, preparing the Scrum board, collecting useful metrics such as velocity and burndown, creating the sprint in Jira, preparing capacity information, facilitating discussions, managing the time box, and coordinating cross-team dependencies whenever required. Their focus is enabling productive collaboration rather than making planning decisions. The development team owns the implementation plan. Team members break backlog items into small tasks, estimate the work, identify dependencies and blockers, adjust sprint scope according to capacity, commit to the sprint backlog, and finalize the Scrum board. Since they will perform the work, the commitment must come from the team itself, not from the product owner or Scrum Master. A practical sprint planning meeting follows a simple structure. First, agree on the sprint goal. Next, spend most of the session breaking requirements into tasks and estimating the effort. Then calculate team capacity and adjust scope if necessary. Finally, ask one important question. Does the team commit to this sprint plan? A clear agenda keeps discussions focused and efficient. Successful sprint planning starts before the meeting itself. Review the product roadmap, refine the backlog, propose a sprint goal, prepare data such as definition of done and team capacity, then walk through every user story together. Teams that prepare well spend less time debating details and more time building confidence in their sprint commitment. Let's finish sprint planning with several best practices. The product owner should prioritize backlog items before the meeting, not during it. Encourage open discussion where everyone can ask questions freely. Estimates should be agreed by the team, not imposed by one person. Prepare extra backlog items in case capacity allows, and make sure everyone shares the same definition of done before committing to the sprint. Now let's move to the daily stand-up. This is the shortest Scrum event, but also one of the most valuable. We'll understand its purpose, why it exists, the responsibilities of each Scrum role, and practical techniques for making every daily stand-up focused, collaborative, and useful instead of becoming another status meeting. The daily stand-up is a daily synchronization meeting for the entire Scrum team. It happens at the same time every day, ideally in front of the Scrum or Kanban board. The purpose is simple. Help the team coordinate today's work so they can successfully achieve the sprint goal. It's about collaboration, not reporting progress to management. The daily stand-up has 3 primary goals. First, synchronize the team's work for the next 24 hours. Second, identify any blockers or limitations that may affect delivery. Third, verify whether the sprint is still progressing according to plan. Every discussion should ultimately help the team move closer to the sprint goal. A well-run daily stand-up creates self-organization, transparency, and better coordination across the team. Everyone understands what is happening, blockers become visible early, and the team works together instead of individually. When practiced consistently, daily stand-ups also strengthen trust and build the habit of solving problems together every day. The product owner plays a unique role in the daily stand-up. While the meeting is designed for the developers to coordinate their progress, the product owner is welcome to attend. They listen to the team's updates, understand the delivery outlook, communicate any changing business priorities, and provide timely guidance on scope if urgent issues arise. The Scrum Master helps ensure that the daily stand-up is a productive event. They are responsible for keeping the meeting focused on the sprint goal and ensuring it stays within the time box. If a discussion becomes too technical or long, they help facilitate an offline session. Their role is to coach the team to improve their daily collaboration. The development team is responsible for leading the daily stand-up. Each team member contributes by synchronizing their tasks, providing status updates on current work, and clearly stating their plan for the day. Importantly, they are responsible for raising any blockers or impediments immediately, so the team can collaborate on a resolution. We are now moving on to the sprint review. This is a crucial event held at the end of every sprint to inspect the outcome. We will break down what the sprint review is, its specific goals, the responsibilities of each Scrum role, and effective strategies for conducting demos that provide real value to your stakeholders. The sprint review brings the entire Scrum team, stakeholders, and customers together to inspect the increment produced during the sprint. It is the primary forum for gathering feedback. The goal is not just to show off completed features, but to engage in a collaborative dialogue about the product's direction and future business value. The core purpose of the sprint review is transparency. The Scrum team explains what was completed during the sprint, what was not finished, and what changes occurred to the scope. By inviting stakeholders, the team ensures that the work delivered aligns with business expectations and captures valuable feedback to refine future product backlog items. The product owner is the anchor of the sprint review. They provide the business context by reminding everyone of the initial sprint goal and comparing current progress against original expectations. They facilitate discussions about the product roadmap and ensure that the feedback received is captured to inform future prioritization decisions. The Scrum Master facilitates the sprint review to ensure it remains a collaborative and productive event. They organize the meeting, manage the agenda, and ensure that all key stakeholders are present. Their focus is on creating an environment where open, honest feedback can be exchanged between the team and the business representatives. In the sprint review, the development team demonstrates the work they have completed. They focus on presenting working software, not just slides. By showcasing the product increment, they allow stakeholders to interact with the features, ask questions, and provide immediate, actionable feedback that helps the team improve the product increment. A typical sprint review follows a clear agenda. It starts with a brief overview of the sprint goal and roadmap. This is followed by a review of key requirements and a summary of the sprint status. Then, the team performs a live demonstration of features, collects stakeholder feedback, and concludes by discussing next steps. Effective demonstrations require preparation. Always pre-fill your application with realistic data and prepare for edge cases before the meeting starts. If a process is long, use recorded clips or time-lapse videos. By ensuring the environment is ready beforehand, you keep the meeting focused on product value rather than technical glitches. When demonstrating, focus on the user's needs. Start by identifying the persona and the specific problem you are solving. Explain the expected result before showing the functionality. Keep the language simple and avoid overly technical jargon. Always end by asking for direct feedback, as this is the primary reason for the demonstration. Finally, we arrive at the sprint retrospective. While the review focuses on the product, the retrospective focuses on the team's way of working. In this section, we will discuss the purpose of this event, its goals for continuous improvement, and the responsibilities of each Scrum role in fostering a healthier, more efficient team. The sprint retrospective is an internal event where the Scrum team inspects their processes, tools, and collaboration. It is the heart of continuous improvement. By reflecting on the past sprint, the team identifies what went well, what could be improved, and creates a concrete plan to implement positive changes immediately. The retrospective has 5 core goals: identify system constraints or waste, brainstorm improvement ideas, acknowledge what is currently working, prioritize the best proposals, and create a clear action plan. Improvement is not just about talking. It's about making small, incremental changes that lead to significant team growth and higher performance over time. A successful retrospective should always end with measurable outcomes. First, the team creates a prioritized list of improvement proposals. Next, they review the status of actions from previous sprints to ensure continuous follow-up. Finally, improvement tasks are assigned to specific team members with clear owners and deadlines. Remember, a retrospective creates value only when improvement ideas become real actions. The Scrum Master plays a key role in making retrospectives effective. They organize and facilitate the session, choose an appropriate retrospective technique, define the discussion topic, review the status of previous improvement actions, and maintain visibility of all agreed proposals. Their goal is not to solve every problem, but to help the team discover and own the solutions together. The entire Scrum team actively contributes during the retrospective. Team members and the product owner propose improvement ideas, discuss different perspectives openly, vote on the most valuable initiatives, agree on implementation approaches, and identify concrete tasks. Everyone participates because continuous improvement is a shared responsibility, not just the Scrum Master's job. A structured retrospective follows 6 simple steps. Start by preparing the topic, then review actions from the previous sprint. Next, gather observations and facts. Generate insights by discussing patterns. Decide which improvements to implement. And finally, close the session by collecting feedback about the retrospective itself. This structure keeps conversations focused and action-oriented. We've now completed the 4 official Scrum events. Before moving into the next sprint, many Scrum teams also perform product backlog refinement. Although it isn't an official Scrum event, it's one of the most valuable practices for preparing upcoming work, reducing uncertainty, and making sprint planning much more efficient. Product backlog refinement is an ongoing collaborative activity between the product owner and the development team. Together, they add more detail to backlog items, estimate the effort required, and continuously adjust priorities. The objective is simple. Ensure that upcoming work is well understood before sprint planning begins. Without refinement, sprint planning often becomes long and unproductive. Refinement allows the team to understand requirements earlier, discuss technical questions before planning, and remove uncertainty. As a result, sprint planning becomes shorter, delivery becomes more predictable, and the team starts each sprint with greater confidence. The goals of backlog refinement extend beyond preparing user stories. The team validates the product vision, identifies new epics and business themes, breaks large initiatives into manageable stories, and continuously prioritizes work based on business value. This ensures the product backlog always reflects the most important opportunities. A typical refinement session begins by reviewing the product vision and future business direction. The team then discusses customer needs, cleans up outdated backlog items, evaluates new epics, breaks larger work into smaller stories, identifies dependencies, prioritizes backlog items, assesses delivery risks, and updates the Agile roadmap. The outcome is a backlog that is ready for future sprints. To conclude this course, remember 3 practical recommendations. Prepare before every refinement session by prioritizing backlog items and gathering necessary information. During refinement, define clear acceptance criteria, estimate consistently, identify dependencies, and communicate business value. Finally, always maintain at least 2 sprints of refined backlog. Teams that invest in refinement spend less time planning and more time delivering value.